Welcome to Currents Up Close, and another in a series of programs about education in the Cedar Falls Community School District. And my guest today is Dr. Andy Pattee. Welcome back, Dr. Pattee.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. And what we're going to talk about today is really an upcoming bond referendum. And we're going to talk about the background, a little bit of what's gone into that, and what's the rationale for the asking the voters to look at this issue at this time. So it's really a case of unfinished business. If one tours the Cedar Falls Community School District, you see great development in new schools at Lincoln Elementary, at Cedar Heights Elementary, completion of the Southdale campus, a total almost renovation of Hanson Elementary School, totally completely renovated homes in Pete Junior High Schools. And now, of course, work needs to be done at North Cedar Elementary School and, of course, Orchard Hill Elementary School. We're going to talk about that in very different ways today. And yet still the unfinished business with Cedar Falls High School in the future. So Dr. Pattee, take us through some of the steps that have gone through at the Building Facilities Committee and the point where you're at right now in asking the voters to look at this bond referendum.
Great, thank you. And again, thank you so much, Floyd, for having me on the program. I'm very honored to be here and always excited to be here. It's always a great opportunity to have dialogue and continue to work with our community, inform the community, and get information out to our community. We have gone through a very extensive process to be able to elicit input and feedback over the last several months since the September bond referendum. We've held 20+ community forums, listening posts to ask people their opinions, what their thoughts are, how do we move forward, and address some of the needs that we have as a district. We know that we have several challenges, and the focus of this bond is the elementary. And the challenges around our elementaries really are twofold. Number one, capacity. We are growing, and it's a great challenge to have as a district with growing enrollment, but we do not have the space for the number of students that are coming through our system and will be in our system in the next several years. And the second challenge we have is equity. We have several buildings, like you've talked about, that are renovated, updated, or newer buildings. They provide greater opportunities for some teaching and learning with flexibility, with spaces that allow for more collaboration or differentiation with student work. And we have two buildings that do not offer that. So we need to be able to address some of those equity challenges with facility. The educational quality is still very high in all of our buildings, but there's equity challenges with the facilities, and then also with the enrollment challenges. So we know that's something we need to address, we need to focus on, because we cannot continue to have students in trailers and cannot continue to put students in some very tight spaces. Also, we know we have to continue to work on some of the high school challenges and what those next phases are going to be. That's not included in this bond, but that's something we're continuing to vision on, to look at what are the educational benefits, what are the economic benefits, what would a new structure be able to provide for us, and opportunities for students into the future. But that will be down the road as we continue to right now focus on the priority of our equity and enrollment challenges at the elementary.
Great. That's a great lead-in to some of the things we're going to do on the program today. We have some terrific videos, segments which will show some of the needs at the building level with building administrators and building personnel saying, what would the changes be like if they could happen as a result of this successful bond issue in the future? So we're going to start right off with a video, the very first one we have with how does the physical environment what does it really impact have on student culture, student learning? So we'll get to that video right away.
The physical environment is extremely important in buildings, and truly the ability to have breakout areas, to be able to have facilities that allow us to focus on the specific needs of children, either individually or in small group work, is vitally important. It affects the overall feeling of a building with natural light, the ability to have indoor-outdoor spaces, the ability to have natural and positive lighting in a building. It is extremely important to make sure that our facilities are meeting the needs of our staff, and certainly meeting the needs as we look to the future of how we provide excellence for students in all that we do.
Currently we have 6 portables, so 6 classrooms outside the building. So again, safety-wise, it's really hard to, kids, in terms of locking the facility, kids have to come in and out. One of our portables currently that holds music does not have restrooms, so when you send kindergartners and first graders out to a portable, there isn't a restroom, so then that teacher has to stop instruction and make sure that that kindergartner gets inside the building to use a restroom safely. But then does she leave her 20 other students there? You know, so that always is an issue. Weather. So when we have to get ready to go out to music or transition back inside the building, kids have to get coats on because it's below zero. They have to get, it might be raining, and so that always disrupts in terms of instruction and loss of instruction time transitioning outside the building. When you provide special education, you have these students who are outside the building in these portables, also that have to get back inside the building to their special ed teacher or to their reading teacher. And that's sometimes a long journey to send them because, again, we're housing 3 special ed teachers in a little area in another part of the wing. You know, next year we're going to add a 3rd section of 6th grade, and we aren't able to provide restroom facilities in that portable because it was so cost prohibitive. So those 6th graders will again have to come in the building to use the restroom. And this is just not what we want for our students. It does impact learning.
Research always shows that where kids spend most of their time, you know, if that's an inviting place for them to be, they're going to learn better. And we know that we have 4 rooms that have been renovated this year, and they look significantly different. They feel different than the rest of the building. And those kids just they're proud. They can learn better. It's quiet. They're able to concentrate better. They have amplification systems. So all around, they're just having a better educational program than what our older rooms are able to provide for our kids. We have great teachers no matter what. But the space definitely does matter. You know, just looking at some of the different things that our kids hear when they have classmates come from other schools that are in newer buildings, we often hear them refer to our building as very old. And that plays a part on our students' attitudes. You know, they feel somewhat bad about not having the kind of space that other schools have in their facility.
When we were able to open up a portion of our new facility here just this last fall, the enthusiasm was evident in our students and our staff, and they were excited for school in general. So they definitely are taking pride in that new facility for sure. Another component of that is that we are really pushing our 21st century skills. We know that we need to prepare our students for the 21st century. And with that, we're working on those 4 C's, that collaboration, creativity, communication, and critical thinking. And we know that with our new facility, the collaboration has really been wonderful. Our new facility is organized in pods for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. So each grade level is close in proximity with a collaborative space in the middle. And so our students are able to go and work on projects and different units together. We also have furnishings that allow for 21st century learners. We have tabletop dry erase tables. We have movable seating. We have desks that easily go into collaborative tables quickly. And so it's really promoting that creativity and that collaboration, and we've noticed a difference with that.
In a space where the structure is newer and open, kids are really proud to bring their families in and say, here's my office, here's my new library, here's my new gym. They take a whole lot of pride in that. They feel better about where they're coming for their schooling, whereas if they're in a more crowded space, yes, they're still proud of where they are. Everybody has that sense of pride in their building, but showing it off isn't as important to some of those students, and they know that. They feel that just because of the crowded spaces in the offices or not even being able to walk through certain places because it is too crowded to walk through. And I think that's really important for kids to really take pride in their building, because we know that if kids are proud of where they are and feel comfortable about where they are, that learning really occurs.
Well, thanks. That was a great look at some of the impact of the physical environment about student culture and student learning. And that moves us right into, Andy, the next step of how does it impact student and staff culture. So talk a little bit about that as we move into the next video.
You know, it's very important. You know, we know that we are very mindful and very proud of what we do with collaboration with our staff, the PLC focus, our professional learning communities. And right now, we do not have some of the spaces that allow us to focus on collaboration with students, collaboration among students, and collaboration among staff. And that's something we certainly look forward to when we look at newer features and newer structures within our buildings.
Then we'll go to the next video then to show some visuals on this very topic.
Yep. We have focused on professional learning communities, weekly meetings with our staff, looking at student growth, student achievement levels, and ensuring that we know our students very, very well. Right now, we do not treat our adults as professionals. We do not have room for them to meet in centralized locations where they don't have to bring all their supplies and equipment to one location. To have facilities that allow them their own personal spaces, their own collaboration spaces, their own spaces where they can sit and talk and be able to reflect and talk to one another about pedagogy, strategies, teaching best practices for students is extremely important, and it allows them to be able to have those spaces to focus on excellence.
When we were able to open up a portion of our new facility here just this last fall, the enthusiasm was evident in our students and our staff. Our staff is super excited and enthusiastic, and when we opened up the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade part of our new facility, their excitement was really fun to see. And not only are they excited, which in turn makes the kids excited and taking pride in what they're doing, and our kiddos taking pride in what they're doing, but it's also much easier to collaborate. Gone are the days in education where teachers teach in isolation. And today, the way our 4th, 5th, and 6th grade are organized in pods, they easily can run to one classroom to the other to ask a quick question, to collaborate, rather than going down the hall. So it just promotes a better opportunity for them to collaborate.
We do so much with professional learning communities, and our teachers are constantly meeting with one another as far as how students are doing. We know exactly where students are at academically and behaviorally at any given time because our teachers do talk, but we don't have the space to do that. So they're sitting on tiny little 2nd grade chairs having conversations about their kids in classrooms. Our staff has a tiny little room that seats about 6 people comfortably that they can have lunch in, and when we have a staff of 35 people, there's nowhere where they can even talk and have downtime together and also have that conversation about how kids are doing or what we need to try in classrooms.
If you have space to collaborate, it helps the staff members because they're not having to sit in chairs that are uncomfortable for them, moving about all the time to find a space. At my current building, we have conference rooms, and that's been great because if there isn't a space for them in a classroom, they can come to conference rooms and allow for that collaboration in a private manner even. And that doesn't always happen in rooms, in school buildings that don't have that space. And I think in this day and age when our collaboration is so very important to focus on students and their learning, if we don't have room for that, it's harder for that to occur.
In a school, it's not just about student learning, it's about adult learning too, that we're all learners. And so, you know, our task is to make sure that our teachers are prepared for the 21st century and how to educate kids. Our staff does not fit anywhere. We can't fit in the media center, we barely can fit in a classroom, so we basically squish in and do our best in terms of providing education for our teachers. And it would be nice to have a space where they could come and fit comfortably in order to learn and better prepare for our students.
We've talked a little bit about the physical environment, both the impact on student and staff surroundings and how that impacts the learning environment for our entire district. And so we're going to move in a little bit, Dr. Pattee, on an issue you talked about earlier in the program, that is the student enrollment and the needs based on what you're projecting for not only for the near future but the distant future, and what the needs are currently in the district and how that's going to impact us. So we're going to go into that in this portion of the program and talk a little bit about how we move into the next video of how does overcrowding affect your school, and the environment that you're in. So just a brief word or two about that before we get into the next video.
Yep, overcrowding's a large challenge for us right now. It's a great challenge as we are facing as a district. We know that over 60 to 70% of schools across the state of Iowa are declining in enrollment. We are growing, and but that presents some challenges with spaces that aren't or shouldn't be utilized for classroom currently being used for student learning, as well as trailers that we have at Orchard Hills. So overcrowding's a severe need that we're facing right now, especially at our elementary level.
Okay, our next video will talk about that overcrowding as we move from school to school.
Currently at Southdale, we have 3 of our preschools who are located in a different facility. They're actually located in the church right next door to our school. And this has 40 students and 4 teachers, 6 paras who are all outside of our school building. That makes it really hard as far as overseeing them. I have to go outside the building and walk over to the church. It isn't that far of a walk, but just when you're talking about collaboration and doing walkthroughs, it is an inconvenience. They don't feel like they're part of our school. We would like to be able to bring in all of our preschools into the main building so that we would no longer have to rent the church space next door. And that would help with our climate and culture, including the preschool children in all of our activities, and having the teachers be part of our staff. Even though we try to welcome them into our staff, when they don't always see people because they're in another building, it's really difficult to promote that.
There's not a lot of spaces to take kids in our hallways. If you were walking, we have no storage, so chairs that we would use like in a performance line the hallways, a copy machine. There's no instrument storage, so you have instruments also there. You have these little tables in the hallway where para educators and teachers are trying to work with a few students, but it's really not an adaptable learning space for people to use multiple spaces for learning. Orchard Hill was built as a 2-section building, and now we're basically a 3-section building, so some of our teams aren't able to collaborate as well because there might be 2 classrooms down in one wing, and the third teacher is now somewhere else where she fits. Again, like we have maybe 2 sections inside and 1 other section outside the building, so that overcrowdedness means that teachers can't share kids and differentiate instruction because you can't send kids all over the building to find that other teacher.
Dr. Patty, you talked earlier, and we have a couple of visuals here about the enrollment trends in the Cedar Falls schools, so comment on those.
Yeah, we work with a company, RSP and Associates, that is out of Kansas City, and they work with a lot of growing districts across the state, across the Midwest, Ankeny and Iowa City, Johnston and Waukee. And we've worked with them now for the last several years, since 2008. And they are projecting with great accuracy our enrollment and our enrollment projections, but they also anticipate in the next 10 years we're going to grow between 900 and 1,000 students during that time frame. And here's just a quick slide that shows some of those projected enrollments. We also know with the next slide that we have been growing rapidly as well over the last 10 years. This slide shows just since 2004 to 2014, those first day enrollment numbers, we are up about 800 students. So not only are we projected to grow another 1,000 students, but we have grown about 800 students the last 10 years.
Well, all this leads into the upcoming bond referendum issue on June 30th. And certainly we've got some videos here that will talk about some of the budget and bond questions. So let's start right off with the video on these 2 tasks.
Well, the PEPL stands for the Physical Plant and Equipment Levy, and it's a special use fund as determined by the state of Iowa, and the state code limits PEPL dollars to very specific uses. And in general, those uses would be you could construct a new building with it, you can remodel or make improvements to a new building, you can use those dollars for energy efficiency improvements in a building, you can use those dollars to purchase transportation equipment, school buses, that sort of thing. Major pieces of equipment, and that's defined as a piece of equipment being more than $500 per unit. And they'll also allow us to purchase technology with that equipment if we bundle items together, so the total cost of that bundle would be in excess of $500. And you can also use PEPL funds for the lease purchase or purchase of school buildings. Now in Cedar Falls, A significant part of our technology plan that we use for the one-on-one technology for the kids in the classroom, that comes from a combination of general fund dollars and PEPAL dollars. But other things are solely funded with PEPAL dollars, and those include all our school buses, all our major pieces of equipment, all the vehicles the support vehicles that you would see run around town, the vans, the pickups, that sort of thing. And we've been using PEPAL dollars for remodeling different schools. We've done some remodeling work at Orchard Hill with that, at Southdale with that, North Cedar, those sorts of sites. We've also used PEPAL dollars to continue to maintain our roofs throughout the building on all 11 school buildings that we have, or buildings we have in the district, as well as the masonry work on the outside, making sure that tuck point, those motor joints are up to speed. Also making sure that windows are replaced, and that ties right into energy efficiency improvements. So the PEPAL fund is really our sole source of funding for all of those items and the general maintenance and repair of our facilities throughout the district.
Well, Dr. Pattee, next we'll go into some budget and bond questions. So just a brief comment before we go into the next video.
Yep, this is just an oversight on some of the overall bond proposal, as well as some of the budget surrounding that bond proposal.
Great.
Well, the current budget just does not have the funds available for a project of this size and scope. And so that's the reason why we need to ask the voters of the community to approve a bond issue to pay for the cost of the construction of these new facilities. The district is planning on issuing bonds for a period of 20 years, but the bonds would be callable, which means that you could pay them off early or reduce the number of principal payments after approximately 9 years. There will be a ballot question that the voters will be asked to say yes or no to on the election day. And that question is basically what the dollars can be used for. The district is asking for dollars to build and construct and improve the site at for a new elementary school, as well as build, construct, and renovate both North Cedar and Orchard Hill elementary schools, as well as provide furniture and equipment for all 3 of those buildings. The bond amount was determined by working through our design team to come up with cost estimates for the construction of the new elementary school, improvement of that site for the elementary school, as well as the construction and remodeling of both Orchard Hill and North Cedar elementary schools. Then we worked with our bond counsel to determine what the needs were based on the estimates of the design team, and then spreading those needs out over a 20-year amortization payment to come up with a yearly cost for the principal and interest for the bonds to fund the projects. Well, the district has been blessed with the 1 cent sales tax funding, and now called a statewide 1 cent sales tax funding, since about 2000. Since the inception of the 1 cent dollars, the district has used these funds to construct new Cedar Heights Elementary School, new Lincoln Elementary School, additions and renovations to both Orchard Hill and Southdale Elementary Schools, Hanson Elementary School, as well as both junior high schools. In addition to that, the district did do some work with the new music wing and the front entrance at the high school early in 2000.
That video provided great insight into several bond questions, Dr. Pattee. And how can a patron find out more specific information? This has been a great overview and continues to be, but how can they find out very specific questions to some of their response to some of their questions?
We really have worked hard because of all the community forums we've had. People talked about wanting clarity of information, detail of information. So if individuals would like to go to the website, it's bond.cfschools.org. It's on the screen right now. There is a wide range of information there, and it goes into great detail and specificity about what each of the costs are with each of these projects, and goes down into very specific categories. And I think that's very important so everybody knows what these costs look like, what the expectations are, and where those go. We also have a tax calculator on that website, so individuals can go in, they can find a link directly to the Black Hawk County website, and they can look up their specific home, what the assessed valuation is, and use that number to be able to come up with a specific amount that might be for their home with this tax implication. So we're excited to provide that information, and we certainly want people to be well informed.
In addition to that, they can contact you or anybody in the central office or building principals. That would certainly be open to any patron that would like more information.
That's exactly right, and we're really working hard to have multiple forums and information that goes out to people in their homes with postcards, because we want people to be extremely well informed and have the information that they feel comfortable with making the right decision with this bond.
Dr. Pattee, we started out with a little background on some of the progress that's been made in recent years with the building program and really enhancing the building environment for many students at various levels. Now, we'd like to talk about, maybe in the next video, and you can maybe introduce this, what about the impact of the entire district? What would the bond impact be?
We know one of the great aspects of Cedar Falls certainly is the public education. It's a key cornerstone for a sustainable community, and investing in that the educational component in Cedar Falls makes it beneficial not only to the district, all the students, but it also benefits the community as a whole. It creates a vibrant community and a growing community. So this talks a little bit about this aspect with this video, and I think it's a very important aspect.
Okay, let's take a look at that right now.
We have a great school as far as our families, our staff, our students, but we are significantly outdated in what we have as far as our facility. And so to get us to be equitable to many of the other schools in the district, we need a lot of space for collaboration. We definitely need climate control. Right now with our systems that we have, it's very, very noisy in the classrooms and difficult for kids to hear instruction adequately. The walls are very thin, paneling, just things that are old that need to be updated. One of our biggest concerns is we have, everything is centered around our specialist schedule. That drives all of our instruction because we only have a gym, which also serves as our cafeteria and a place for an assembly or any kind of auditorium space. And so everything that we do that's really good for kids as far as reading instruction or math instruction, it's all centered around when can we have PE in the gym. And that really causes us some problems because we have to be out of there in time for kids to eat. So we definitely need more space, spaces for parents to be able to meet with staff or with myself. We don't have any conference spaces or any room just to have conferences or meetings that we need to take in a private matter.
Well, that has been really a series of great video presentations to help us look at the entire question here of the bond issue on June 30th. So Dr. Pattee, as we sum up this program, the items that have been presented in the videos and with our dialogue today, what are the final comments that you would like to make to our viewers?
Well, we've listened to our community. We've really gone through an inclusive process the last several months. We're focusing on our elementary needs first. We're continuing to work and have dialogue and vision on the high school needs. And we really want people to know we have a lot of information. We have a lot of detailed information that we have been providing to people. We have on our website. We're sending out communication and flyers to individuals. And we're really excited about the next steps.
Well, we thank you very much for not only being with us today, but also the great videos that we've had have been produced for this program. And they're available, I think, on several other venues and media outlets. So with that, we thank you again, Dr. Pattee, for telling us about the upcoming June 30th bond referendum.
Thank you.